Hey everybody, what's going on? I am still alive and kicking. Sorry I haven't uploaded lately. This of course is Bruce from Habowskistudio, and I've been very busy past couple weeks doing a lot of getting ready for dropping off some paintings. So I was doing framing and all that kind of fun technical stuff. So today what I want to talk about is I've printed off some photos here that I'll kind of pan in and show you some detail, but I find that when I'm outdoors painting and stuff that I really get excited about when I'm indoors working from photographs is I like a lot of structure in my paintings, a lot of angles and that sort of thing, and pieces of shapes. In this new gallery where I dropped work off yesterday along the coast of Maine, I am going to be with a couple other artists, a featured artist in July. So I'm trying to work on some material, lay out action plan for what I'm going to show at the gallery. And let's get into some ideas here that I have that I want to pursue for this idea. Okay, so when I started plein air painting, I've done it a few times obviously in the past, but lately when I started the channel doing a lot of more plein air and some studio pieces, but mostly the plein air work, is I wanted to get outdoors and really experience the color firsthand. I was working a lot from photographs in the past, and I wanted to really understand kind of how color was working and that sort of thing. So now I want to bring some of that experience into trying to achieve a balance of very rendered form and looseness of brushwork in my studio work. That was the whole idea, so that some of the language I learned in the plein air would help me out in the studio, and of course the studio work has helped me when I paint outdoors in terms of capturing the form, shapes, and relationships quickly when I'm outdoors, so then I can start concentrating on the color. So they balance off each other. And now I'm going to take the camera off here. I want to pan in. These are some of the ideas I want to paint for this July show I'm going to be doing. And there's lots of reasons why. Mostly it's I like the compositions that I've chosen. And let me zoom in a little bit and show you some detail. Okay, here we go. So I just printed out these large kind of formats on 8.5 by 11 paper of the images I want to paint for this show. And the first one I'm going to start with is the rope one. I kind of like zooming in on parts of a composition the most. I really like breaking up the pieces of shapes and creating some interesting design compositions. And then of course with the texture in there, that's going to be fun to play with. And of course that has the same idea. And then you have this piece, which would be really nice to get into some texture up here, but a little more clean form here. A little bit of texture on that. And this is going to be really interesting. This is actually at a place called Five Islands in Maine. It's like a little series of 5 islands out in this little cove, a lot of lobster boats. And while the lobster boats are cool and everything, you know, in Maine they can be overdone a lot and unfortunately cutesy, even though I don't paint. You know, I paint a little more, I don't have a lot of high-key color in my pieces, and they're very kind of, I like the moody aspect I have in some of them, but I like the strong graphic quality to the compositions. So, and the plan is I want to do these, I don't want to do these tiny. I'm thinking at least 14 by 18. I'm trying to, right now I'll study a little more the one I'm going to work on first, and contemplate how I know I can handle certain forms and a certain size. Okay, switch to the iPad here because I forgot my ELPH camera. Last time I shot a video in the studio, there was some flicker going on from my LED lights, which I'm not happy with in terms of filming. But this is the sketch I got going with the grid method, and I've been at it about 45-50 minutes, really making sure I get some key points, of course. And you can see the composition here, and I'm starting to get ready to work on the knot. And what I've done is I've drawn through shapes, that sort of thing, to create the beams. And except for the grid area lines, I've erased other lines that may be distracting so I can focus on the knot. Now, certain elements, this is a focal point of the piece, so it has to be pretty exact, and you can feel how the rope is tied, that sort of thing. There's some shadow areas in here that I'll need to get a little more information. Sometimes I take a photo with high contrast so I can see the light and dark planes easier, and I forget to take a detail shot of the shadows. So I'll take a look at that in the computer later. I'm not too concerned with it right now, but that's how it's coming out right now. Let me get the knot drawn in. Okay, I am ready for paint, and I got the bottom part figured out there. What I did is I printed out another photograph, overexposed the shadows, and gave me information that's really going to come in useful that I didn't see very well in the darker version of the photo. Here we are. I'm ready to reinforce those lines. I think I'm going to experiment with some washes of acrylic paint as a line drawing, go over all the lines lightly to establish them. Then I can start in oil. I'll establish some, lines, and then mass in the tone. And because they're acrylic, when I wash over with oil, if I don't like a particular element, I'm anticipating obviously being able to wipe out that whole area and have my acrylic underpainting drawing showing. And while I'm being careful, not being too concerned about super exactness, I just want to establish certain parts will be drawn out. I'm basically just, of course, going over my lines. You get the idea of what I'm doing here. And once I draw out go over all the lines, we'll get into some massing of tone. Okay, this is the drawn in stage. Just use this small round, Rosemary & Company. And now I'm going to get a bristle brush and knock in some of the base shadow areas to set off some light and dark basics. Okay, here's the quick scrubbing of just some general same value dark pattern for the painting. Okay, may not look like much, but this is the value pattern for the painting. I'm not going to go into a super duper monochromatic kind of thing, but I just want to establish some base tones over the darks. And I'm at, let's see, about 3 hours from the start of the pencil sketch, gridding it out, all that kind of thing, to this stage. Mixing up some kind of blue grays with a little sienna, not filling in the whole thing, just randomly. Mixing up some grays, placing next to other grays of a little different temperature and color, trying to get a little interest. I'm just trying to get some lights and darks, and once I feel there's a nice relationships going on, I can reinforce certain aspects. Not too worried about going over edges of my rope right here, because as I bring in the color of the rope later, that wet paint will facilitate some hard and soft edges if I so choose. Just trying to get some variance in the wood here, because some of the colors in the photograph, even on my darker version, they're kind of bland. So this is my opportunity to try some colorful grays. Okay, here's what I got going on so far. I'm liking some of the colorful grayish tones that I have going on, adding a little zest to the piece, to the painting. And now I think I'll get some tone on there, some color for the rope. Okay, of course you can see I've worked on the rope shadows. Now this whole process so far is just basic tones, colors for right now. I'll be doing more rendering, that sort of thing, later time. But I'm liking the structure of it. I can tell it's going to work pretty nice. And I've added since the beginning here. We got some ivory black going on, some titanium white, some ultramarine blue Utrecht, burnt sienna, dioxazine purple, alizarin crimson, and cad yellow. And I think I'll be able to complete the painting with this mix, and using a little liquid impasto gel right over here. I'm not too concerned right now with heavy duty paint application. I want to get colors kind of dancing around in multiple places, get some color tones, and then I can start working on the texture part of the whole thing. Okay, here's what I got going on so far. Worked on a little bit of shading, darkening a few planes here and there. A little bit of time moving around the piece, trying to pick up some of the colorful grays in other areas to lead the eye around, but I'm really liking the composition. The rope is going to be super critical in getting the information in there, and hopefully I can pull it off. Okay, about going to wrap it up for the night here for this session. But pretty much wanted to get everything kind of covered, and I feel I've achieved that well enough. And right now I'm just working on some last minute little things here. This is coming out pretty much as I expected it to, for getting a little color in the piece that is not there in the photo. Gives some variety in the grays to have them be interesting in the painting. Not worried about going over some of the lines. There's some residue colors over on the left parts of my palette. I can just kind of touch up, go back and forth. Not really cleaning out my brush, just picking up some of that other paint mixtures. Just getting last little touches in. I'm really liking the angularity of the piece so far. It's really, really interesting and gets me excited about painting when I find a subject like this. Okay, I'm going to wrap up this session of this painting. I like how it's coming out. I started it today. Got about, I don't know if I had to calculate. Of course, I had dinner and took a nap and a couple other things, but probably have about 6 hours in it, I think, from the beginning of stretching the canvas, the whole 9 yards. And I'm liking some of the color tones going on, and of course it'll need second layers all over the place, but I got a good start, pretty happy with it. And I want to thank you for joining me. Don't forget to check out the link of Patreon down below in the description box. It kind of gives you ideas. Let you know what Patreon is, a platform to help support YouTube creators such as myself to provide the content that you're viewing. If you're new to the channel, thanks for checking it out, and I invite you to subscribe for more. Everyone else, thank you very much for continuing to watch the videos, and until next time, bye.